Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Trescos. I am the Director of Education here at the Somatic Coaching Academy, and so glad that you could take a moment to be with me here today on our quick live stream. So today we are talking about the problems with using visualizations to affect somatic work. Now, if you're like me, I love guided imagery. I love visualizations. I was actually I was speaking at a conference yesterday of nurses around the world, and I had the opportunity to be at this conference. And the presenter that went just a bit before me shared a lovely and beautiful guided visualization. Really helped everyone in such a wonderful way to be able to ground themselves, to feel better in their bodies, to feel more relaxed and more open. So I love using guided imagery. Now, guided imagery has been around for thousands of years, hasn't it? And people have been using it for a long, long time. But if you think about it, the world has changed a lot over the past few thousands of years. Now, I'm sure thousands of years ago, there were things like famine and disease and war and weather and all the traumas that ancient humans had to work through. The one thing I know is different, though, is the degree, the speed, the pace, and the amount of information exchange. Just think about this now. We are bombarded with visual information constantly. We're looking at the screens that I'm looking at right now. We're looking at our phones constantly, where we're constantly being bombarded with visual stimuli. And a lot of it isn't oriented around nature. You think about it, thousands of years ago, people were looking at natural things, waterfalls, trees, birds, bees, and grass. And we know that those, when we look at nature, when we visually consume nature, that it has an effect on our physiology. So there's no doubt about it. Like what we see with our eyes affects our physiology. And our brain doesn't know the difference between what happens with our eyes open and our eyes closed, by the way. If we're seeing something with your eyes open, if you're looking at the same thing with your eyes open, and then you close your eyes and you visualize the thing that you just saw, it has the same effect on your physiology. Think about that both ways. If you're at a beautiful waterfall and you may feel something in your body, you might feel relaxed. If you close your eyes and you visualize that waterfall, you're going to feel the same way. Flip side of that, if you are in a difficult situation, if you're having an argument with someone and you're in that argument or you're witnessing someone have an argument, you're going to feel something in your physiology. Now, if you close your eyes and you witness that argument, visualize that argument, you're going to feel the same way inside of your physiology. So again, your brain doesn't know the difference between your eyes open and your eyes closed and how it affects us physiologically. So we know that there's a very profound effect that way. Now, here's where the potential problem comes in. When we use visualization as a primary mode of altering our internal states, when we're doing this regularly, when we're practicing this, even if we're practicing it to feel better, when we're practicing to be more relaxed or practicing to be more alive or more open, and we're closing our eyes and we're visualizing these things, we are increasing the connectivity between our visualization centers and the way our physiology works. So we are increasing the wiring, the communication between those places. Now you might think that is fantastic. That's really great. But that same wiring also carries the information associated when we see distressing things. So if we're out there in the world and we're seeing distressing things out in the world, that is still a direct line into our physiology. It can't be one-sided or the other side. It has to be both. If we're increasing that wiring carries information both for us feeling better and also for us feeling worse. So we are strengthening that wiring. And again, in today's world, our visual bombardment of things that potentially are going to make us feel worse is thousands of times more than it was thousands of years ago. So if we're strengthening those networks, then we are leaving ourselves susceptible to having our internal states affected negatively when we see something that feels negative to us. So why are we doing visualization anyway? I've already mentioned it a couple of times. We're doing it to feel better. We want to feel better. That's why we're doing the positive imagery. So we're imaging that waterfall so we feel more relaxed, or we're imaging our favorite place in the world so we feel more relaxed, or our puppy so we feel we're doing it so we feel better. So here's the thing, the danger here isn't that visualization doesn't work, it's that it works too well. it works too good. And the law of cause and effect will tell us that we strengthen those networks, we strengthen those patterns to have our internal states be secondary to what we see. Just check that out again. We're training our internal states, how we feel, to be secondary to what we see. And so now we have to start to control what we see because our internal states are a byproduct or an effect of the cause of what we're seeing outside of us. And that is really dangerous, or really a problem. So, I've been working in healthcare for over 3 decades. And I remember when I used to work in hospitals, and there were really difficult, and this was back in the day where I was practicing a lot of positive visualization. But what I discovered is exactly what I'm explaining to you right here, is that I was working in around trauma centers and around very highly emotionally charged situations. And when I would witness those things, they would affect me profoundly. And so I needed to I'm really serious. I would go to the bathroom and try to catch my breath and do some positive visualization and try to get myself back on track, and then go back out into the world again and get bombarded again. So if you're feeling like that, like, oh my God, that's my experience too. I have a really hard time being out in the world because I'm being bombarded by all the stimuli. It's making me feel a certain way. I have to try to escape to feel better, or maybe get my like 20 minutes of feel good a day before I go back out in the world for 23 hours of being bombarded. I know you're sleeping too, but hopefully that gets the point. Then this is exactly what I'm talking about. So at the Somatic Coaching Academy, we teach our students to go to the primal source of the human experience, which is our sensory base. So go deeper than the visualizations, to go deeper than the emotions, to go right to the core at what it means to be human, is how we feel about things. And so people might be like, wait, that's not what it means to be human. We're spiritual beings. I get that. Yes, I do. But if we're in an embodied experience, we're human. If we're human, we're in a body. If we are in a body, then we're operating from a sensory perspective. If we're not in a body anymore, we're not operating from that sensory perspective. At least I don't think that way, because I don't remember not being in a body. But I do recognize that we can go on a big tangent here. Let's just keep it honed down. If we're in an embodied state as humans, there's a base level sensory experience that is driving our decision making and our behavior every moment of the day. So we have to decide is what is going to be the driver of that experience. Are we going to try to practice visualization to feel better, or are we just going to feel better? We can do that too. So if this is of interest to you, if this sounds interesting, please, pop down in the chat below what you have going on and your thoughts around this, and reach out to us if you'd like to know more about our one-day course that we run monthly, or even our level 1 certification cross-mapping practitioner certification program. We'd love to chat with you about that, or anything else that's on your mind. Thanks so much for joining me here today. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in a training soon. Bye-bye.